Hi, everybody. I'm Susanna DeBaca. I'm the president and group publisher of Business Publications Corporation, the parent company of DSM Magazine. Welcome to our second annual LGBTQ Legacy Leader Awards. I'm proud to be part of a company that cares so much about the community, and I am honored to be a part of such a meaningful event. We are very pleased that you have joined us. As I reflect on the last few months, it's difficult to process all that we have been experiencing. A pandemic, protests, both peaceful and violent, to fight for Black lives, the death of icon Larry Kramer, Pride Month gone virtual, a landmark Supreme Court decision on workplace discrimination law. With so much attention on civil rights, I cannot help but think about all the people who have fought so long and hard under so much duress for the rights of the LGBTQ community. Violence, police brutality, resistance to extend the most basic and fundamental human rights all mark the history of the LGBTQ rights movement. It's clear by the Supreme Court decision this week that we have made so much progress, but there is still so much work to be done. The individuals that we honor today pushed for LGBTQ rights and opportunities, all while excelling in their careers and civic involvement and just trying to live their lives. As I start the program, I want to give a heartfelt welcome and thanks to this year's honorees, who we will be hearing a lot more about during the program today. And of course, I also want to give a shout out to last year's inaugural honorees, many of whom are here as audience members, even if we cannot see them, and many who actually nominated awardees here this year. So hello and thanks to all of you. Today, in addition to thanking and honoring our trailblazers, we're also going to learn about future LGBTQ leaders, the newly announced One Iowa Leadership Institute class. By honoring the past, sharing stories, and lifting each other up, we create momentum. We keep moving forward together. I want to give special thanks to the DSM team for their hard work writing and capturing each of our honorees' stories, designing the feature in the magazine, taking beautiful photos and videos, working with our sponsors and honorees, and setting up, publicizing, and coordinating this event, plus so many other BPC colleagues who worked hard to make tonight run so smoothly. As the event unfolds, I encourage you to extend the momentum via social media. You can post your Zoom screenshots and use the hashtag LGBTQLeads. I also want to point out that we have closed captioning, and if you need that, you can access that in the bottom right-hand side of your screen where it says CC. That's where you can get the closed captioning. The genesis of this award was conversations between Business Publications Corporation and One Iowa. Over the years, Business Publications Corporation and DSM Magazine have been steadfast advocates of the LGBTQ community, telling stories and shining a light on events and issues from marriage equality to pride to trans rights. But we felt there was an opportunity to do more, to specifically honor exemplary LGBTQ trailblazers. Discussions with One Iowa crystallized into an idea, a hall of fame, if you will. We put the word out, we received overwhelming response last year, and here we are again, on screen, but together in spirit. We'll thank our sponsors again, but I want to have a special thanks to One Iowa and Corteva, our presenting and supporting sponsors, as well as our corporate table sponsors. Even if you see no tables, they are in table spirit. And those are UCS Healthcare, Mom's Meals, Wellmark, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Des Moines University. We are very grateful to One Iowa for their support. One Iowa advances, empowers, and improves the lives of LGBTQ Iowans statewide through education, advocacy, and collaboration. And now I'm very pleased to introduce Courtney Reyes, the Executive Director of One Iowa, our presenting sponsor. Courtney?
Thanks so much, Susanna, and thank you so much to DSM Magazine and the crew that put this event together. I first want to start off by saying thank you and congratulations to the amazing honorees. I don't get to be an out queer woman if you all didn't do this work so long ago and continuing through your life, so I'm so very grateful to you, and I'm happy to be here with you today. One Iowa alone stands on the shoulders of giants. Sharon Malero, she was honored last year, and she helped pave the way, and I still get excited in the goosebumps when Sharon Malero calls me and tells me she loves me and tells me I'm doing a great job. So know that these leaders, even though maybe you put in a whole bunch of work a long ago, you're still lighting the way for us. I became ED of One Iowa in November, and let me tell you, it's been a wild ride since then, and couldn't be more proud to be the leader of this incredible team. Back in 2005, Sharon Malero had the vision to get marriage equality for Iowa, and if we could do it here, we could do it anywhere. And since that moment was realized in 2009, this organization has continued to evolve to meet the needs of LGBTQ Iowans. Today, I'm here and proud to tell you that we have 3 specific areas that we spend a lot of time working on. Improving workplace culture for LGBTQ Iowans is one of our main priorities. With about 50% of people not fully out at work, we know that that Supreme Court ruling is wonderful, and we will take that win to power us to keep improving workplaces for folks. The second area that we spend a lot of time in is training healthcare providers and all of the people that make the healthcare system work. We want to make those spaces incredibly inclusive for our trans and non-binary folks and for people of color. At One Iowa, we want our work to be intersectional because we know that we all need access, and when we gain equality for one group, that's only helping others. I am honored to be here with you today, and I'm incredibly honored to introduce Max Mowitz, our program director, and they're going to tell you about our 3rd arm of our organization that they spend a lot of time organizing. So with that, Max Mowitz, take it away for the LGBTQ Leadership Institute.
Thank you so much, Courtney. Like she mentioned, I am Max Mowitz. I'm the program director at One Iowa, and every day I wake up and I'm amazed that this is the job that I get to do. My pronouns are he and they, and I want to tell you a little bit about our Leadership Institute. In fact, I'm actually really excited to do so because we just announced our new Leadership Institute class of 2020. It's 15 amazing participants from all different backgrounds, corporate, nonprofit, education. These are all folks that I'm really, really excited for everybody to meet as the program continues on. In fact, we just had our first class on Tuesday. But I think we can all agree that the leaders that we're honoring today all came from different backgrounds. And for One Iowa, that's where the LGBTQ Leadership Institute comes into play. We recognize the fact that LGBTQ folks don't feel or see themselves in positions of leadership because they are LGBTQ and they face discrimination in their lives, their workplaces, and in their families. And so one of the things that the LGBTQ Leadership Institute really aims to do is to try to empower those LGBTQ current and future leaders to live in their truth and be their authentic selves in every scenario, in every situation that they're in. So it's a really unique program in that way. And of course, it really focuses on a lot of different areas, but we try to pay attention very closely to LGBTQ history, power and privilege, intersectionality, authentic leadership, the ins and outs of politics and running for office. So you might see some faces in the next 5 to 10 years running for office coming out of the LGBTQ Leadership Institute. And when we look at the curriculum and their capstone projects, what we really want to highlight is what each individual leader can do in their communities and with their skills and values. And we know that this is a really powerful and unique program because out of the 41 participants that have been a part of the LGBTQ Leadership Institute, over half have gone to pursue careers, receive promotions, and join boards in their community. So this is a really, really powerful program. It's one that we are so incredibly proud of. As an LGBTQ leadership alum, it really changed my life to be a part of this program. It is so much of the reason that I work at One Iowa today, and I get to wake up and do my dream job every day. So I am eternally grateful to the program itself. And of course, like I said, this year's class is really exciting, and I am constantly humbled by the amazing participants and alumni who constantly inspire me and the rest of the One Iowa staff and community every single day. The Leadership Institute is a vital and empowering program, and I am so excited for you all to see what our participants and our alumni do. So thank you for having me today.
Terrific. Well, thank you, Courtney and Max, and congratulations to the One Iowa leadership class. We're very excited to see what you guys end up doing. And I will put a little plug in for One Iowa's training. Our organization had Max come and do LGBTQ 101, 102, and 202, I think. And if you are interested in that, I highly recommend that as a resource. So thank you very much, Courtney and Max. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our sponsor, Corteva. Corteva is a major agricultural chemical and seed company that was the agricultural unit of Dow DuPont prior to being spun off as an independent public company about a year ago. While Corteva is a global business, they have a major presence right here in Johnston. Corteva has long had a reputation as an employer who values and promotes diversity, equity, and inclusivity. And so I am very pleased that they have chosen to sponsor our awards. And I'm pleased to introduce Tricia Bruvich, who is a molecular biologist and a member of the Corteva Pride Johnston leadership team. Tricia?
Thank you, Susanna. It's an honor and a pleasure to be at the LGBT Legacy Leader Awards reception today. Corteva AgriScience is a new company. Like she said, we just celebrated our first anniversary, formed from a merger of two very historic companies, Dow and DuPont. Both our parent companies have a long history of supporting inclusion and diversity. We have purposely built this value into the very core of the Corteva brand. At Corteva AgriScience, our purpose is to enrich the lives of those who produce and those who consume, ensuring progress for generations to come. And we do so through our people. They are at the forefront of growing what's next. Our commitment to an inclusive workplace unlocks collaboration and fosters the innovation required to be a winning team. We cultivate a culture where our colleagues feel appreciated and where we have opportunities to reach our full potential because of, not in spite of, our unique backgrounds and viewpoints. By actively seeking and including a diverse range of ideas, perspectives, and approaches, our inclusive workplace culture helps us more deeply understand new and emerging markets and better serve our customers around the world. In fact, we have 8 business resource groups highlighting inclusion and diversity, one of which, Corteva Pride, is an active organization created to bring together, support, and champion LGBTQ and ally employees globally. At Corteva AgriScience, we believe being inclusive and diverse generates creative solutions to complex global problems. When we build and work together, we grow the world. So congratulations to all the graduates and honorees. Now I'm proud to introduce the DSM LGBTQ Ally Award recipient, John Forsyth. Forsyth has been the CEO of Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield, the largest insurance provider serving Iowa and South Dakota for 24 years. Throughout the past 2 decades, Forsyth's vision has been to create an organization accepting to all. In the late 1990s, Wellmark became one of the first organizations in Iowa to establish insurance benefits for same-sex couples. Forsyth oversaw the creation of the company's Inclusion Council, which brings a wide range of voices to the decision-making table. Because of Forsyth, Wellmark supports only nonprofit organizations that agree to the company's inclusion statement. As a leader, Forsyth has embodied his parents' teachings of acceptance, saying, "I was raised that you should treat everyone how you want to be treated." And now John Forsyth.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the DSM Magazine and One Iowa for recognizing me with this most prestigious award. And I have it with me. Wish you could have handed it to me in person, but it still came in the mail on a timely basis. I've been fortunate to receive many awards during my career, but none more meaningful than the LGBTQ Ally Award. And it's so meaningful to me because it recognizes that I've made a difference in many people's lives over an extended period of time. I want to have a special thank you to Wellmark employee Tony Kuth for nominating me. And Tony, I know you're out there, congratulations for earlier this week being recognized by the Des Moines Civil Rights Commission as the Des Moines area human rights champion and dedicated LGBTQ community advocate. Also want to thank Daniel Hoffman-Zanell and Rana Baranovas for their letters of support. They were very generous in their comments. I want to shout out to our Inclusion Council that Tricia mentioned. It's a very special group, and I know a number of our past and present members are participating on this call. Together, I know we've made a tremendous difference inside of our company and in the culture within Wellmark, and we've made a difference in the community at large. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Wellmark's board of directors and senior leadership team. Without their support, I would not be here to receive this award today. As a leader, you always want to do the right thing. For me, inclusion in the workforce is the right thing to do for employees, customers, the company, and the community. As was just said, my vision has always been to create an organization that is welcoming and accepting of all, and I'm proud of the accomplishments we've been able to make over the past 24 years. Again, thank you for this honor. I will always cherish this award. And I congratulate each of the other Legacy Award honorees. Thank you.
Congratulations, John, and thank you for everything that you have done at the helm of Wellmark for the LGBTQ community.
Thank you.
And now we're going to begin recognizing our LGBTQ legacy leaders. We are pleased to present these honorees to you first in a moving video tribute. So Stacy, can you roll the video?
There was a time when I was ready to give up. The life expectancy for a Black trans woman is 35. I have passed that. There was a point in time when I lost my best friend, and I made a plan to end my life. I walked into the lake and then I was like, oh hell no, I'm not doing this. The water is wet. I can't do this. I won't look cute when this is over. And you know what? I have people to piss off. So I turned around and walked myself right back out of Lake Michigan and chose to keep going.
My faith does. I mean, I've had a lot of people in my life who have taught me that our work in the world is to improve the world, but it's my faith that allows me to keep doing it and to have hope that it'll have fruit someday.
I knew that I was gay right away, and I didn't have any outlet. I grew up on a farm in Northwest Iowa in the 60s and 70s. I was very involved in 4-H. And when you think about the motto of 4-H, to make a better world for my club, my community, my country, and my world, when I take a pledge, I try to take that serious. And it carried over to college and the community and my work life. And it was something that allowed me to focus on that versus, you know, really being gay and trying to deal with that.
I love seeing goodness. I love seeing goodness in people, whether it's an athlete that is setting a goal and pushing their body to accomplish their dreams and doing things for a good cause. It makes me want to be a part of it. It makes me happy. It gives me hope.
Creative people are really what inspires me. I have friends of all ages, genders, colors, and I love the back and forth of helping them develop something or having them help me develop something.
My theory is if we don't take care of our kids, who will? A lot of people don't know that a lot of statistics for older children in social services, they're generally LGBTQ or have some sort of learning disabilities. I feel like if I can stand out in front and say, hey, baby, you're not alone. Here's somebody here that you can come and talk to. That becomes that driving force for me.
Never ever lose sight that you have been wonderfully made, wonderfully created. Never ever compromise who you are. Never ever let anyone make you feel like you're less than. And I think how you can do that is to live your truth and to find a supportive community.
There's so many individuals such as myself out there who are more than willing to offer advice. So you've got to reach out. I would have never thought as a high school graduate from my high school in 1979 that I would be sitting here having a husband of 10 years, be embraced by my family, my friends, my coworkers. I never would have dreamed that that could have been the case. So it does get better.
If there had been social media when I was younger, I would have made any number of really bad mistakes. So I would encourage them to honor themselves and recognize that it doesn't matter what the world says about you. What matters is where are you with you. So protect yourself, cherish yourself. Cherish your body and your soul and your mind and your reputation. Those are the things that are going to serve you in the long run.
Be yourself. And the people who will beat you up for who you are not people you want to call your friends or to hang out with.
Even though I know my safety in life is because of other people who bravely came out before me, and that coming out is essential to normalizing us, I know that some people simply cannot do it. And I have to respect that. And so it's a matter of asking, what are the consequences for you? Including are you living with depression because you're not out? What do you feel in your life you're missing? What would your life look like if you could be fully out and free? But never to apply pressure because it's just not safe. Even though part of me is like, come on out, everybody, because we got to get this done. We're everywhere. And people don't know that until we do.
I'm at a 6. Thanks, because right now, obviously, we are in the middle of some crazy. I am as happy in the middle of a spotlight as I am. Can I have a hoodie, my sweatpants, some chips, watching Netflix with my crochet hook and a bag of yarn, and leave me alone? Because I'm not feeling you today.
I'm about a 7. That 7 represents the fact that I'm happy with all of the life decisions I've made and with what I've accomplished. The remaining 3 points are the frustration that I can't keep doing that indefinitely. There are curbs everywhere.
What a weird question. I am so filled with joy and gratitude for the life that I get to live. So much joy and gratitude. I also do not want to go home and do the dishes tonight. I find all of that very, very annoying. So I'm going to say 8 because I have worries and concerns like everyone else. But I am afforded so much freedom in my life to be bold and to be direct and to take care of myself. And that is very rare.
I am a 10 right now. I really am. October 16th, 2010 was the happiest day of my life. It's the day we got married. We had been together for 26, 27 years. I don't know, a long time. We underestimated how important that was. For us, family and friends, it was a beautiful day. I'm retired and I'm thoroughly enjoying retirement. I have more time to meditate and really connect with that deep spiritual part.
13. I really am so happy. I love my life. I love what I do. I love all my blessings. Even in the darker times, you know, I've really always leaned towards that 10.
To everybody watching, if you have a child who comes out to you and says that they are gay, they are lesbian, they are bi, they are trans, they are questioning, they are agender, they are asexual, no matter what, open your heart, open your mind, and simply let your child be. The one thing that I can tell you, and this is not meant in any disrespect, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about how this person is going to now navigate the world. And the one thing they don't need is the people who are supposed to protect and support them being the ones who are their biggest detractors. Just figure out a way to adjust and navigate through it.
Thank you so much to all of our honorees for those incredibly inspiring words. And thank you to Wayne and Dylan Huey of Good Plan Productions for that truly moving video. If you're not paying attention to the chat function, feel free to add your comments. I'm seeing amazing chats come in and applause, and that's almost as good as listening to the honorees. So make sure that you chat whatever you want to. And now I am pleased to recognize our first honoree in alphabetical order, the Reverend Eileen Gebbe. Eileen Gebbe is the pastor at the United Church of Christ in Ames, Iowa. Gebbe has long been a proponent of inclusivity and acceptance. Born in St. Louis and having spent her formative years in Portland, Oregon, Gebbe came to Iowa in 2015 and quickly became an engaged community leader, active with the Ames Public Library and with Story County Housing Trust Fund. A pivotal leadership moment for Gebbe came in 2019 on Christmas Eve, and it wasn't because of her church particularly. It was because the man who had set the church's rainbow-colored LGBTQ flag on fire early that year had been sentenced to 16 years in prison. The public blowback to his sentencing was swift and severe, with anger directed at the church, which is inclusive to people regardless of sexuality. Hate messages flooded in, and many of them carried anti-LGBTQ sentiments. But Gebbe navigated this explosive incident the way she has led throughout her life. She emphasized acceptance of all and became a mentor to many, both within and outside the LGBTQ community. We are so pleased to recognize the Reverend Eileen Gebbe as an LGBTQ legacy leader.
Well, thank you to DSM Magazine and One Iowa and the good people of Ames United Church of Christ for this recognition. It's a recognition I never could have imagined, as I've spent the bulk of my public career downplaying my queerness. Don't get me wrong, I've always been plenty gay in every setting, but I focused on how my whiteness and the educational and economic advantages I was given by my family of origin could allow me to address poverty and white supremacy, and to stay employed in one of the most conservative businesses there is, American Christianity. And while my whiteness and the other unearned advantages have long protected me from some of the worst queer phobia, I mean, my life expectancy is so much longer than that of a trans woman of color, I don't think I really appreciated until these last few years the power of being a non-feminine dyke in clerical garb in the pulpit of this most conservative of institutions. But it isn't my power. It's God's power, and it is each of ours. My tradition teaches that God has tattooed love onto every one of our hearts. Every one of our hearts has been held and marked by a promise of divine love and presence. A divine love that renounces all efforts to deny our truth, and a holy presence that rebukes the places of silence and violence that this trans and homophobic world would send us to. You are sacred, my fellow queers, and you are adored. And if we can own that, if we can own the power all beating hearts have been granted, then we have the power too to ensure that all of humanity is acknowledged as sacred and protected as adored. For there is no one the world needs more now than a pack of queers, a gaggle of queers, that because we have known together the brutality of queer phobia, we have worked out, or we had better be working this out right now, our own racism, sexism, ableism, ageism, and xenophobia, all the ways we find to hate each other. Let none of us ever downplay who or how we are. That's a denial of our God-given inborn power. Let us instead tattoo onto the hearts of this very nation a promise to make all Black lives matter, all hungry children full, and all unhoused people sheltered. And let all the gays and all of our allies, advocates, and accomplices say Amin, Ashe, and Amen. Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations and thank you for that. Now we would like to honor our next awardee, Alexandra Gray. Alexandra Gray grew up on the southwest side of Chicago in a family of accomplished singers in the local African American music scene. As a young person, she sang, danced, and became a performer at a young age. At the same time, Gray was finding herself. Living as a man, Gray knew from an early age she was gay, but by her early 20s, she started to understand herself as a transgender woman. Gray came out in 1997, but her performing career took a hit, and she did not return to the stage for 2 decades. 5 years ago, Gray moved to Des Moines. She immediately became involved with the local LGBTQ community, and she serves on the Primary Healthcare's Prevention Advisory Council. Gray is acutely aware of the threats that face transgender women of color. According to the Human Rights Campaign, 26 transgender or gender nonconforming people were killed in 2019 in the United States, the majority of whom were Black transgender women. She has become an outspoken advocate for LGBTQ rights and is a role model to so many. So we are very pleased to recognize Alexandra Gray as an LGBTQ legacy leader. Alexandra? You're on mute.
How you doing? Nope, I'm done. I'm not. I fixed it. Sorry, everyone. Technical issues. How's everybody doing? First of all, thank you to DSM Magazine and to One Iowa for giving me this and saying, hey, job well done. You know what? Life has been a blessing. Since moving here, my life has turned around. Some of the struggles that I faced, I no longer face. I still face them by being a Black trans woman living in this country. But one things that I love is that I'm able to be seen. And I'm able to be seen as an artist. I'm able to be seen as a teacher. I'm able to be seen as someone who simply loves. Like I said at the BLM Unity Rally on Sunday, babies, just live your best life. Just live your best life. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't be who you want to be. Live in your spirit, live in your soul, embrace yourself, and love, honey. Just love. Thank you so much. I am forever grateful. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Alexandra. And now we're going to take a minute to hear about what the LGBTQ Legacy Leader Awards and these honorees mean to some of our friends at One Iowa.
Hey everyone, it's Courtney Reyes, the Executive Director of One Iowa. My pronouns are she, her, hers.
Hi, my name is Keenan Crow. I'm the Director of Policy and Advocacy at One Iowa. My pronouns are they, them, and theirs.
Hi, I'm Max Mowitz, Program Director at One Iowa, and my pronouns are he, him, and they, them. And I am so excited to celebrate this year's Legacy Leader Awards because I think it's absolutely important that we uplift and honor the lives and the legacies of those that have come before us and have done amazing work in their communities.
Without the hard work of these dedicated individuals, we wouldn't be nearly as far in the fight for equality as we are today. While there is still much to do and the struggle continues, it is important that we recognize the invaluable contributions of those who came before us.
And I know every single day that I cannot be doing this work as an out queer woman, promoting equality for LGBTQ folks if it weren't for these amazing honorees.
These are the giants on whose shoulders we stand.
Thank you very much, Courtney, Keenan, and Max. And now we'll continue our awards. And the next awardee we'd like to recognize is John Harper. John Harper has led an exemplary life of leadership, education, and service. A native of Des Moines, growing up in the 1950s and early 1960s, being openly gay was almost an impossibility. It was criminalized in most states, and role models were not readily apparent. By the time Harper acknowledged to himself that he was gay in his mid-20s and came out soon after, he'd already seen a number of his closeted gay friends marry women and have children. Harper had a successful career as an administrator and an English professor with the University of Iowa. Unlike many other gay individuals at the time, being open didn't hinder Harper. He became a professor of English in 1976, was active in the local theater scene, and spent several years on panels for the Governor's Conference on LGBTQ Youth, listening as attendees poured their hearts out. After turning 50, though, he wanted to make a change, and in 1995 became the first openly gay cleric in the Episcopal Church in Iowa. John has been a leader and a role model for generations. We are very pleased to recognize John Harper as an LGBTQ legacy leader. Congratulations and thank you, John.
Thank you, Susanna. I'm very touched and I'm deeply grateful for this honor. And as I've been sitting here listening, I am especially grateful for being introduced to my fellow honorees and hearing their stories, which are quite inspiring to me. This has been quite a week for all of us, beginning on Monday with the Supreme Court decision on LGBT employment. Another decision this morning on the protection of dreamers. And in between that, the Iowa City Council came to terms with all of the demands of the protesters. And we're just coming up on Juneteenth. So the fact that this is neatly tucked into the middle of all of that is quite fitting, I think. As I look clear back, I owe a great debt of gratitude to both of my parents, who taught me a lot about the principles of community activism and service to the community, and to my grandfather, George Brammer, who was really my role model and my inspiration in political activism. My grandfather founded about 90 years ago the Brammer Brody law firm in Des Moines, which encouraged all kinds of forms of activism, and over the years morphed into being the Davis Brown law firm, which today includes two of my favorite people, Sharon Molero and Jonathan Wilson, as partners in the firm, and they are, of course, last year's honorees. I kind of cut my teeth in the 1960s on activism in civil rights movements and in marches, protests, demonstrations, sit-ins, and that continued over into anti-Vietnam War activity. And I came out in 1968, which, oh my God, is 52 years ago, and began to sort of transition my efforts into LGBT causes. I think I came to that from a position of great privilege, being an almost lifelong resident of Iowa City, which could not be a better place to be. In case you don't know it, we now have a Black gay mayor and a mayor pro tem who is a Muslim woman. And rights here have always been at the forefront of everybody's considerations. University, likewise, my academic department. And I also owe a great debt to the Episcopal Church and to the bishop who ordained me just 25 years ago this year, Chris Epting, who walked that journey faithfully with me and has ever since. I'm particularly proud of and feel my area of strength has been in creating new organizations or putting flesh on the bones of upcoming organizations. Integrity Iowa, LGBT arm of the Episcopal Church, which I founded and was the first president of. Collaboration in the leadership of a national movement called Holy Relationships. And in the local scene, a group called Connections, which brought together various strands of the community into a single organization. It seems to me as time has gone by that a lot of those existing organizations have kind of fallen away or fallen into disrepair. I can't help thinking a lot about One Iowa, with which I've been involved, as one of those organizations which keeps accomplishing things and then revising its mission statement and going on stronger than ever in a new path. But I think that's probably an exception. Supreme Court ruling this week was a wonderful thing, but it certainly doesn't suggest that we should rest on our laurels, nor does any other development like marriage equality, because there are always those bad guys who are going to come back and fight a new battle on a new day. And recent history has demonstrated that to us in spades. So I encourage all of you to continue the fight, to do everything you can to bring out the vote this November, and to promote the causes of justice. I'm very grateful to DSM Magazine, to Daniel Hoffman-Sinnel, who nominated me, and to Ryan Crane and Dr. Richard McCarty and Ryan Romerman, who wrote glowing letters of recommendation for me for this award. And finally, I just wanted to mention the incredible influence in my life of my friend and mentor, the late, great Donna Redwing, who helped me so much to figure out the last pieces of my journey. Again, I'm most grateful for this honor and thankful to all of you.
Thank you, John, and thank you for everything that you have done for this state. Our next awardee is Jan Jensen. Jan Jensen is the assistant head coach at the University of Iowa women's basketball team. But she almost left coaching in the 1990s. Jan was just understanding her sexuality as a gay woman while serving as the assistant head coach for the women's basketball program at Drake University. And she worried that coming out, which was still unusual at the time, would be a detriment to her team. She went to her head coach, Lisa Bluter, and offered to resign. But thankfully, Bluter did not accept. Jensen eventually followed Bluter to the University of Iowa in 2000, where they turned the program into a perennial powerhouse. Jensen became a highly regarded recruiter and coach, helping countless players improve their skills while serving as a mentor on and off the court. Her many community leadership activities include the United Way of Johnston County, where she and her wife, Julie Fitzpatrick, co-chaired a record-setting campaign, and the Shelter House, which operates an emergency shelter and permanent supportive housing units. Jan exemplifies leadership, drive, and dedication to the community. We are pleased to recognize Jan Jensen as an LGBTQ Legacy Leader. Congratulations, Jan.
Thank you so much. I too want to offer my humble thanks for this recognition. But before I share my brief remarks, I want to introduce you to my amazing family. So I want to bring our daughter in here. This is my daughter, Jamie. This is my son, Jack. And then there's my beautiful wife inside and out, Julie. So thanks, guys. You want to take this so I don't knock it over? All right. Thank you so much. You know, as I have reflected on this award and on the remarks I wanted to share, I don't know if I have ever had a harder time in organizing my thoughts and really emotions. You know, I've been so incredibly blessed, and I have, you know, been recognized for various awards far too many times than I deserve. And I'm quite certain that there are so many other people that should be accepting this right now. But yet here I am. And I am so grateful to be standing here. You know, typically one receives recognition for doing. For example, many of the awards I received as a younger woman were as a result of my doing the skill of basketball, you know, pretty well. But as I reflected on this award, I'm getting honored for being a gay woman. And you know, the lives and the stories of all LGBTQ people are unique to them. I believe that the one emotion, perhaps the one fear that we all initially have or sadly carry far too long, is that being gay is wrong. And we wonder if our being will be enough. We wonder if our being will be accepted. And the thought of our being ever being celebrated is certainly not a thought that crosses our minds. At least it never did mine. You know, before realizing I was gay, I had a magical upbringing on a farm in Southwest Iowa. I was raised by loving parents and grandmothers who instilled in me a faith and a work ethic that helped me achieve much recognition in high school and in college. However, with that recognition also came a modest level of notoriety. And it was that notoriety especially that caused me to initially fear being me. So to be standing here today, accepting recognition for being something that I initially thought would be the reason that I'd have to quit my job, I'd have to move from Iowa, I'd be rejected by my family, my friends, that everything I'd ever done in my life would somehow just be erased. Not to mention my faith. all the churches so many times that would say there was no place in heaven for gay people. This recognition is arguably one of the biggest monumental milestones in my life. And that is why I'm filled with so much gratitude. I'm grateful because for the first time in my life, I can say thank you to my dear friend Lisa Bluder for not accepting my resignation 22 years ago. And for one of my best friends, Jenny Fitzgerald, my co-worker, for sticking with me through all the ups and the downs. And I'm thankful for my therapist, Lois Braverman, whose empathy and expertise from that very first session when I was so scared of being, her expertise helped to diffuse my fears and confidently pointed me toward new perspectives, gently pushing me forward. I'm thankful to so many pastors, Pastors Rui, McKinstry, Priest, and Michael, for warmly welcoming me, for warmly welcoming gay people, for every one of them giving me hope and confidence that they accepted me, but more importantly, that God accepted me. I'm grateful for my family and closest circles of friends, old ones and my new ones, that not only never wavered when I came out, but they took my hand. They took my hand in theirs and they carried the flag even higher for me, but not just for me, but for all LGBTQ people. I'm especially thankful for my older gay and lesbian friends who have paved the way with so many others in showing me what living life honestly and openly and being me could look like. I am so thankful to the countless young women that I have coached and their families that have so lovingly supported me, and they had pushed me to live more boldly. And I'm so thankful that God has blessed me with this moment. I am so hopeful that I can be possibly a bright light for any and all LGBTQ people, young or old, that may be struggling with similar thoughts of coming out or whether to pursue a job, whether they can do it. I'm so thankful that I can so confidently say that they are okay, you are okay. You are so okay just being you. And I can tell you that the best is yet to come. Love wins. Love always, always wins. And in closing, I want to thank the love of my life, my wife, Julie Fitzpatrick. I dedicate this recognition to her. She actually should be the one standing here. Her love, her grace, and how she stands in this world are awe-inspiring. She makes me better, she completes me, and the life I share with her and our two kids really, really makes me realize just how grateful I am. And I'm so grateful for all the people that have helped me along the way to being me. So even though I stand here, this award is really so much more about everybody else, everybody in my life, everybody that has given me this award, DSM Magazine, One Iowa, John Harper, Sharon Malero, Jonathan Wilson, everybody on this panel. You have spoken up so much more loudly at times than I have. You have paved the way. And I am so thankful I have the opportunity to continue to pay it forward. And I just am grateful, and I can't thank you enough. And I just continue to marvel, even though I've had a few months now to get used to the fact. And here I am, just being a gay woman who has an incredible church community. I never had to quit my job. I never had to leave this great state of Iowa. And somehow I'm getting an award for it. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. God bless you all. And I'm honored. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jan. Congratulations. I'm pretty convinced now, having met you, that if you would have been my coach, I might have actually been able to do a layup. So, thank you. Our next awardee is Tracy Lewis. Tracy Lewis recently retired from a successful career in human resources, but his leadership is as strong as ever. Born in Northwest Iowa's Woodbury County, he has fond memories of his childhood on the farm. But in his rural community, there were no LGBTQ role models. He remained closeted, saying, "I felt like there was no one like me around." After attending Iowa State University, Lewis began a human resources career at Principal Financial Group, a workplace that accepted him early on, and he went on to leadership positions at Kemen and Mom's Meals. Lewis is passionate about mentorship and community service. He is a fixture among Central Iowa's LGBTQ organizations and has served as a board member for the Des Moines Public Library Foundation, the Des Moines Arts Festival, the former Stage West Theater Company, and the Iowa 4-H Foundation, reflecting his passions for the arts and for agriculture. He and his husband, Rick Gubbles, have mentored dozens of LGBTQ individuals, serving as the role models Lewis never had. He has touched so many lives. We are pleased to recognize Tracy Lewis as an LGBTQ legacy leader. Tracy?
Thank you, and I am so honored and humbled to receive this award. I truly am. Thank you. First, I would like to thank DSM Magazine, Business Publications Corp. and One Iowa for this recognition. I'm honored and humbled, especially when I consider the past and current recipients. These individuals who have enhanced my life as a gay man living in Iowa. People have made a difference to so many. Thank you. I would like to also thank our sponsors for their support, with a special shout out to Mom's Meals and the Anderson family. I retired from Mom's Meals in February, and I can't begin to express my gratitude to this organization for the love and support I received during my tenure there. I consider it some of the best times of my professional career. You are an amazing organization, and I know several of you have joined us today. I love you, I miss seeing you, and I thank you for your support. Congratulations also to the recipients of the Leadership Institute, our leaders of the future. Nice job, great to see you as well. When I learned that I had received this honor, it caused me to reflect and ask myself, what is my legacy? According to DSM, I was a role model to many. And this got me to thinking, well, what did I do? Why do I deserve this? So I had a discussion with Rick, my husband and partner of 36 years. And we both agreed, but we were unaware of LGBTQ models growing up. And it felt as if we were alone. It was then that we decided it was because of this, we decided to live our lives as best we could and be visible while living it. We wanted to show that gay couples do exist and are an active part of our community. It was through this involvement that we were able to bring our straight friends and their children together with our gay friends. I like to think that it opened understanding and accepting all around. This may not seem like such a big deal today, but in the 80s and 90s, it was not as easy as one would think. Also along the way, we were able to mentor several gay individuals who were struggling with their journey. Again, making the biggest impact, I think, by simply living our lives as fully as we knew. We hope we made a difference. Earlier, I indicated, and it's in the article, that I didn't have role models growing up. However, as I paused and reflected, that's not necessarily true. I had pioneers along the way that gave me courage, and I'd like to acknowledge a few of those individuals at this time. The late David Hurd, past CEO of the Principal Financial Group. Dave was a savant, a futurist, a humble friend, and an ally to the gay community. Dave made a difference, and Principal was ahead of his time in how it treated gay employees, in such a large part to Dave's influence. Des Moines became a stronger community, and he personally made me a better person. He was a life and legacy well lived. Lynn Graves. Lynn was a wonderful ally and a role model who helped me during my coming out process at Principal. She assured me it was okay to be gay at work. Soon after the fall of the, I just got a call. Did it cut off?
You're back.
Did it cut off though?
Just a little bit. Go back and tell us what you're going to say.
Okay, Lynn Graves. Lynn was a wonderful ally and role model who helped me during my coming out process at Principal. She assured me it was okay to be gay and out at work. Thank you, Lynn. Todd Reedstrom and Mike Dickman, how brave you were. As a gay couple, you moved to Moscow, Russia as expats working for Principal soon after the fall of the Soviet Union, and you thrived in a culture that wasn't extremely friendly to same-sex couples. I don't think you realized how much of a role model you were to so many. You gave me courage. Frank Vaya. Frank and I worked together through the Central Iowa AIDS Project, a precursor to the current, our primary health care, the project. Frank was on staff and I was involved as a member of the board. Frank was a role model to me for living out his compassion and love daily to people living and dying with AIDS at a time where there was so much fear, misunderstanding, and isolation. It didn't stop Frank from living his life while serving others. Frank is a pioneer and a hero to me. I have to thank the Varnum 6-2 for paving the way to marriage equality. You certainly made a difference in my life and so many people's life. And I also want to remember and acknowledge a couple of icons from our national community who recently passed, Larry Kramer and Phyllis Lyon. Both were positive instigators who brought forth change. May you both rest in peace. Thank you, Scott Valbert, for nominating me, as well as those who wrote letters of support. Your eloquence and friendship means more to me than you know. And finally, to my family, some of which you have joined today, and my husband, Rick Goebbels, I love you all. Thank you for your support. Rick, none of this would have been possible without you by my side for the past 36 years. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Thank you for everything that you have done. Thank you to our honorees. These leadership stories appeared in the May-June issue of DSM, and if you have not read these stories, please go online to dsmmagazine.com to find them here. Once again, we thank our sponsors, presenting sponsor One Iowa, supporting sponsor Corteva, and our table sponsors, even if we don't have tables, UCS Healthcare, Mom's Meals, Wellmark, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and DMU. We could not do this without your support. As we wind up tonight's program, it's clear that many of our honorees grew up at a time when role models were rare and leadership opportunities acknowledging their LGBTQ identity did not exist. But you are role models, and One Iowa is developing leaders who ultimately will help light the way. We are not only grateful to One Iowa for their support, but we hope you'll consider supporting this organization. One Iowa, like many nonprofits, had to delay their annual fundraising gala because of COVID-19 and have had to change much of their programming this year. In particular, we hope that you will consider financially supporting the LGBTQ Leadership Institute you heard about earlier, a program that shapes future leaders who will undoubtedly contribute to our community like the honorees we recognize today. One Iowa and these young leaders would welcome your support in these uncertain times. To donate, you can go to oneiowa.org/donate/support the next generation of LGBTQ leaders. So take a screenshot of that or go to the One Iowa website. Our next issue of DSM Magazine will be unveiled next week on June 23rd at a virtual event at the Food Bank of Iowa. We're also going to be making a very special announcement about a new initiative Business Publications Corporation is launching to combat hunger. If you care about our community and you care about social issues, you will not want to miss that. So the details are here. We certainly hope that you will look for our newsletters, all free, DSM Weekly, DSM Weekend, IA, our love letter to Iowa, and DSM Wealth, and visit dsmmagazine.com to subscribe to our print edition and read stories like the one that you are seeing today come to life on screen. I want to thank everyone recognized here today, and I thank everyone who made this program so inspirational. We're humbled by today's honorees who have done so much, who have stood up for their rights and lives, and who keep standing. We're inspired by our One Iowa Leadership Institute class who will lead us into the future. So I leave you with a quote from a young LGBTQ author and self-described multiculti gamer girl with a whole lot of R's and L's, Cassandra Duffy, who said, "The beauty of standing up for your rights is that others see you standing and stand up as well." I hope that everyone here is motivated to stand up, to do more, to be themselves, to continue to work for an equal and just society. Thank you for joining us, and that concludes our program.